Hello, welcome to Newsround, where you get a recap of stories that made headlines during the week. Coming up, thousands of residents displaced as flood ravages Borno. Residents recount experience. Service chiefs, heads of security agencies vow to arrest bandits kingpin Belluterji. Ajaero Labour Congress demands immediate and unconditional release of its president, Ajaero, who was arrested by security agents on Monday. Plus, former U.S. President Donald Trump and Vice President Kamala Harris officially face off in the first presidential debate. And that's Newsround in view. We'll begin Newsround in the northeast region, where thousands of families were trapped in flooded areas in Borno State. Survivors have been recounting their experiences as they take shelter in temporary camps across the state capital. Business owners also count their losses. Some markets, like the Gamburu perishable market, which was completely submerged by flood, has temporarily been relocated to a stadium.
The Maiduguri flood situation started last week Thursday when houses along the riverine areas experienced excess water flow into their homes. By Monday this week, most areas along the waterways and flood-prone areas were already flooded. By Tuesday morning, houses, markets, shops and public infrastructure were already submerged. Hundreds of thousands of residents escaped the flood with little or no belongings. While some slept on the streets, others relocated to relatives living in safer locations. The state government directed all affected victims to take shelter in camps and schools while the floods receded. Some of the survivors who made it to the camps recount their experience.
We were home when they called to inform us that flood has submerged Budum. I have relatives there. While on my way there, I was called back that my area has been flooded too.
Search and rescue operations commenced on Wednesday as the flood continued to recede. By Thursday, September the 12th, the waters had receded in most locations, while some parts of the cities were still combating the floods. As regards economic activities, some shop owners recount their experience after the floods.
It was around 2 a.m. that we got the information, according to the sources of the people that told us that a flood has started coming to take over our area.
At least more than 500 shops are affected. And you know that some shops are there with 2 people, 3 people inside the same shop. So if you calculate more than 500 shops by human beings, you will find out that people will be more than 1,000 people.
I make more profits. This is because those that were trapped by the flood, when they are rescued, we pay us higher fares to take them to safer places.
To provide for their families, survivors continue with their trade in the camps. Owing to the blockage of the major connecting roads across the state capital, the Biu-Damboa Road has experienced increased vehicular movement, causing traffic jams as some of the camps, perishable market, and other businesses have shifted to that axis of the city.
Meanwhile, the National Emergency Management Agency, NEMA, says over 400,000 people have been affected and at least 37 died in Borno flood disaster, with search and rescue operations still ongoing. The state government has activated 9 internally displaced persons camps deployed additional staff to support rescue efforts, provided water purification equipment, and critical search and rescue tools. The Director General of NEMA, Mrs. Zubaida Umar, disclosed this at the National Emergency Coordination Forum meeting in Abuja.
This meeting is at the instance of the National Emergency Management Agency, NEMA, on the recent flood in Maiduguri, the Borno state capital. Stakeholders in the control and management of natural disasters are attending the meeting. The National Emergency Coordination Forum meeting was convened to receive updates on the flood situation and to assign roles and responsibilities to all stakeholders.
The main reasons for convening this meeting, therefore, is to receive updates on the flood situation from various agencies here present and to assign roles and responsibilities to all stakeholders to ensure we're all on the same page.
According to NEMA, 29 states and 172 local government areas have been impacted by flooding, affecting over 1 million persons, displacing over 600,000 and resulting in the death of 259 lives. For Maiduguri, the epicenter of the latest flood disaster, figures from the agency shows that over 414,000 persons were affected, with 389,000 displaced persons and 37 deaths.
As part of ongoing efforts, internally displaced camps have been activated in some states, most especially with the recent one, Borno, that we have seen. The state government has been very proactive, and so far they have about 9 IDP camps. Additional staff have also been deployed to support search and rescue operations. We have also deployed water purification and critical search and rescue equipment to affected states, especially Borno, being the most recent, while food and non-food items are also being provided to support the affected persons. To complement these efforts, plans are underway to provide additional relief intervention, including medical consumables and medicaments.
People responsible for dams should ensure the integrity of these facilities, because if the integrities are not strong enough, this is what we will continue to experience. And we have done our bit in this year, and I am sure that what is happening now is not just as a result of the rains alone, but probably the managers may not have done exactly what they were supposed to do in terms of ensuring the integrity of the dams, and of course making sure that probably the dams were released little by little so that such devastations might not occur the way they have.
The agency plans to focus on immediate relief efforts for the victims while implementing long-term strategies to improve flood management, enhance infrastructure resilience, and strengthen early warning systems. Benny Ark, Channels Television News.
And since the beginning of the rainy season in Kano State, a total of 49 people have died due to flooding and building collapses. The Executive Secretary of the State Emergency Management Agency, who confirmed this to newsmen, said a total of 226 communities were affected. Meanwhile, in Jigawa State, where a similar incident occurred, victims of the flood received support from the state government.
In the past 40 days, parts of Kano and Jigawa states in the northwest region of the country have experienced heavy flooding. Many people lost their homes, farms, and loved ones. According to the Executive Secretary of the State Emergency Management Agency, about 49 people lost their lives in Kano.
1,414 persons were displaced. Second to the last, we have number of injuries. 139 number of people were injured, while unfortunately we lost 49 individuals from within the 27 local government areas.
Meanwhile, in Jigawa State, flooding is still visible in Buji local government area. However, victims received food items and the sum of 20,000 naira each to cushion the effects of the flood.
We received millet, maize, spaghetti, and 20,000 naira. We are really grateful because we need this intervention.
Governor Umar Namadu of Jigawa State said the intervention is aimed at providing relief to the victims who are now settling in 12 IDP camps across the state.
These people, we have given them intervention twice. And today, we are giving almost the third intervention. And in this intervention, we are launching today 15,775 people. Each of them will get 10 kg bag of rice, 10 kg bag of maize, 10 kg bags of millet, and 1 carton of spaghetti, as well as 20,000 cash.
The government will continue to monitor the situation and provide necessary support to those affected. Sadiq Ilyasu, Channels Television News.
And to health now, the Nigeria Center for Disease Control and Prevention has confirmed 8 new cases of mpox in the country, bringing the number of cases in the country to 67. The Director General of the center, Dr. Jide Idris, disclosed this during a media briefing in Abuja. However, Dr. Idris is concerned that the number of cholera cases may surge in coming weeks due to flooding in some parts of the country.
Top officials of the Nigerian Center for Disease Control are providing an update on the various disease outbreaks in the country. Currently, the agency has confirmed 8 new cases of mpox, with fresh cases recorded in Gombe, Plateau, and Akwa Ibom states, totaling the number of confirmed cases to 67 out of 1,031 suspected cases from 35 states and the FCT. For cholera, 141 suspected cases and 1 death have been recorded in Katsina, Lagos, Jigawa, and Adamawa states, bringing the number of suspected cases to 7,663. Additionally, there are 7,703 suspected cases of Lassa fever, with 168 deaths so far, while diphtheria has 12 new cases, putting the confirmed number of cases at 7,784 since 2024.
These are key issues here.
However, the Director General of the center is raising alarm that there could be a surge in the outbreak of cholera as well as cerebrospinal meningitis.
Fewer states now are reporting cases of cholera, but we should not rest on our oars because 1, we still have the rainy seasons, and 2, remember the flood. Lassa fever is on the decline, meningitis is on the decline because we have been advised to deactivate the EOC. But again, we also know that these are seasonal, and very soon they will start coming up. We're expecting Lassa fever to be on the rise again in the next couple of weeks. Meningitis again will peak again towards the beginning of next year. These are vaccine-preventable diseases, and the message basically now is that we must ensure that our children are vaccinated, or the people are vaccinated at appropriate times again.
The center provides an update on the evaluation of antimicrobial resistance, which is considered a pandemic.
Antimicrobial resistance is a situation that arises when the germs we know about, that is the bacteria, the viruses, and the parasites, no longer respond to the medicines we need to take to treat them. And it's a problem because what it means is that common infections will become difficult to treat. And the numbers show now that if we don't do anything, antimicrobial resistance is surpassing malaria, HIV, and TB.
The NCDC further warns the public to desist from the misuse of antibiotics. Kumbi Aboluade, Channels Television News.
Forces of Nigeria is again assuring Nigerians that all residents, the military in collaboration with other security agencies, is working tirelessly to arrest Bello Turji, bandits kingpin operating along the Sokoto-Zamfara state axis. Addressing a news conference in Abuja after a meeting of service chiefs and heads of other security agencies, the Chief of Defense Staff, General Christopher Musa, vows to capture the bandit kingpin in addition to neutralizing other criminal elements terrorizing the nation.
The Chief of Defense Staff, accompanied by service chiefs and heads of other security agencies, here to update Nigerians in their efforts to combat the nation's security challenges.
Today, since morning, we've been having...
Prior to this moment, the service chiefs had a security meeting behind closed doors. The Chief of Defense Staff starts by laying the foundation for this briefing.
We know that security situation is not as expected, but we want to call on all of us that this is the time that we need to come together as one people, as one country, in order to tackle the menace of banditry, of terrorism, of cultism, of armed robbery, sea piracy, pipeline vandalism, and all acts of criminality. Together, we shall succeed. That I can assure you.
The Defense Headquarters also used the opportunity to reel out the successes recorded in the various theaters of operation.
It is those successes recorded in these operations that underpin the stable security environment in the Northeast, particularly the Borno area. There have been huge returns. Approximately 170,000 locals have been able to return to their homelands in Borno, Yobe, and other states. There has also been a relocation of IDPs, about 60,000 IDPs, in conjunction with the Borno state government, thereby decongesting some of the IDP camps. Our adversaries, about 125,517 terrorists and their families, have so far surrendered.
The Chief of Defense Staff vows to arrest Bello Turji, a bandit kingpin. He also appeals to Nigerians to partner with security agencies in the fight against insurgency.
The issue of Turji, like I said, is just a deranged individual that feels power, but I can bet you that it's just a matter of time. A matter of time, we're going to get this, and I can assure you, within the shortest possible time, we're going to address that issue on payment. On the issue of payment, that is what they live on, and it shows you the desperation they are in. One, even when they get the money, they don't have where to use it. Two, is that the money they're getting, they know is blood money.
The security chiefs are promising to end banditry, kidnapping, and other criminal activities in the country.
Now to some politics. The People's Democratic Party says it has plenty of respect for the National Peace Committee, but insists on certain conditions before signing the Peace Accord for the September 21st governorship election. Addressing journalists at the party secretariat in Benin City, the Edo State capital, the governorship candidate of the PDP, Masoe Godalo, believes that all the relevant stakeholders can still retrace their steps and instill confidence in the contesting political parties.
Members of the National Peace Committee, led by former military head of state, General Abdulsalami Abubakar, arrived at Sir Victor Owaifo's event center in Benin City for the signing of the Edo State Governorship Election Peace Accord. This is the second time that parties and their candidates are committing to a peace accord since 2020, when the National Peace Committee first mediated a similar exercise in the build-up to the 2020 governorship election in the state. The chairman of the National Peace Accord sets the tone for the day's event, stressing the critical role of peace to development.
Today, as we stand on the gateway of yet another critical election in Edo State, we urge all political actors and stakeholders to commit themselves to the cause of peace in Edo State.
The INEC chairman and the Inspector General of Police gave assurances to the political parties and their candidates of neutrality and professionalism.
For us in INEC, at the election management body, I want to assure political parties and candidates that we'll continue to play our part according to the law and best practice as articulated in the clauses of the National Peace Accord that we are about to commit ourselves to.
We will remain impartial, professional, and vigilant while providing a level playing ground for all the political parties and their candidates.
Our third party, we have the state chairman.
Next is the core of the day's event, the signing of the Peace Accord. Political parties and their candidates are called in alphabetical order for the signing.
attachment, yes, thank you. People's Redemption Party, chairman and candidates.
Significantly, the candidate of the People's Democratic Party was at the event, and he refuses to sign the peace accord.
People's Democratic Party, chairman and candidates.
As you might have seen in the media, I met the governor yesterday, and he told me the PDP are not going to sign this peace accord. They have made some observation, and I was expecting the chairman of the PDP to come and make that statement.
Believe the world, anywhere, anyone in the world who agree with us.
Outside of the hall, he explains the reason for the party's decision.
This is the wife of the Honorable Chairman of West, Honorable Collins Agbogo, that was whisked away 4 days ago, 4 a.m. in the night, by the police. Gentlemen of the press, if it were you as a political party, will you, in good conscience, sign that peace accord?
Again, outside the venue of the ceremony, women groups are staging a protest. Their message is directed at the Inspector General of Police, calling for a peaceful election in the state.
Now to other top stories for the week. The Nigeria Labour Congress, NLC, is demanding the immediate and unconditional release of its president, Ajaero. The National Administrative Council of the NLC made this demand and others after an emergency meeting on Monday to address the arrest and detention of Comrade Ajaero by the Department of State Services, DSS. Mr. Ajaero was arrested and detained at the Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport in Abuja while en route to the United Kingdom, where he was scheduled to attend and address the Congress of Trade Union Congress of Britain, representing Nigerian workers in critical discussions on workers' rights and social justice. The head of information on the NLC, Mr. Benson Upa, confirmed that Mr. Ajaero was arrested at the International Airport in Abuja on his way to the United Kingdom.
To the best of our knowledge, at the time of his arrest, no reason was given, and we consider it an act of state harassment. We're in a police state, but we'll find that quite embarrassing, not because we do not know the character of the regular police state, but that the people perpetrating this evil themselves were once called themselves champions of democracy. And we have them here on video clips, chanting, saying all manner of things against previous governments at Ojota. If anybody within this administration thinks by harassing Joe Ajaero or by monitoring the executives of NLC, tapping their phones, invading their privacies and all of that, that they will take us off our trajectory, they'll be making a very costly mistake. Because Nigerians are with us on this. I want to tell you this.
And now we had Newsround in the United States with one handshake and 90 minutes on the stand. The first presidential debate between former U.S. President Donald Trump and Vice President Kamala Harris officially kicked off in Philadelphia. Hosted by ABC News, the debate also marked the very first time both candidates saw each other face-to-face. Stakes were high as the candidates faced questions top issues including the economy, immigration, and reproductive rights. The presidential candidates also got the chance to pitch their vision for the American voters, decided the undecided, with the elections only weeks away now.
Well, I would love to. Let's talk about what Donald Trump left us. Donald Trump left us the worst unemployment since the Great Depression. Donald Trump left us the worst public health epidemic in a century. Donald Trump left us the worst attack on our democracy since the Civil War. And what we have done is clean up Donald Trump's mess.
Look, we've had a terrible economy because inflation which is really known as a country buster. It breaks up countries. We have inflation like very few people have ever seen before, probably the worst in our nation's history. This has been a disaster for people, for the middle class, but for every class. On top of that, we have millions of people pouring into our country from prisons and jails, from mental institutions and insane asylums, and they're coming in and they're taking jobs that are occupied right now by African Americans and Hispanics. Number one, I have nothing to do, as you know, and as she knows better than anyone, I have nothing to do with Project 2025. That's out there. I haven't read it. I don't want to read it purposely. I'm not going to read it.
And those were the top stories for the week. Thank you for watching. I'm Vladi Williams. Bye-bye.